This brown paint, I'm just going to do the wood trim around these couple windows and doors. So I'm going to cut some plastic here with this utility knife. Get to this. So I'm just cutting here the plastic. The brown areas I could just use the same plastic, so I'm not using a crap ton of plastic all at once. And honestly, I don't really need to tape this because I'm probably not even going to drip anyway because I'm a pretty good painter. With painting, the trick to painting mainly is making sure that you don't put it on too thick. Because if you put it on too thick, it's going to drip. So I like to put it on just so, you know. So I got the plastic weighed down, so it's probably not going to go anywhere. That's good. Shake up the paint a bit before you actually, even though this is new paint, I still like to shake it up. And this is why I usually keep my utility knife on my belt right here. Well, I know a lot of handymen don't actually do that, which I think is stupid. I use this thing all the time, and sometimes it's harder to get out with just a finger, especially when I got a glove on. So I just use my key to pop it out. I usually just use a flathead from here, rather than having to go search for my flathead, get on my tools, and then I just prop that bad boy open, all the way around. Put that there so you don't step on it. A mixture of these two guys, so a brush and this little roll right here, because it's not big coverage and I'm not doing the sides. So usually when I pour into this tray, what I do is I pour just so much, not too much, and then just scrape it so it doesn't drip like crazy. It's just something a lot of painters don't necessarily do, or a lot of people don't do. So that way you don't waste a bunch coming out. I'm just going to put on coat right there, so I need to go back some more paint. And it's painting's pretty easy as far as I know. I mean, see, you don't want to put too much paint on. That's why I'm using that tray right there. Just pretty much go over the same area. I want to put this on kind of thick, so I have to put one coat on, really. That area right there, I could probably caulk that. I might caulk it tomorrow, actually. Because I sanded that area, it's catching better. It's not flaking. It would be flaky looking if I hadn't have sanded it. Cut in with the brush right there next to the window. I gotta clean it out a little bit. A little bit of dust and stuff in there. So I'm done pretty much painting this. Sometimes you want to go back over and make sure you don't have any, what they call it, painter's holiday, I guess. It's when there's blotches of paint. You want to make sure that you cover those areas. You can. Another tip for painting that a lot of people don't know about necessarily: when you dip in your brush, don't dip it all the way in. It's usually best to dip it in right, half an inch or so. Now what I usually do is I clean it off. Sometimes on the sides too, because you don't want to put it on too thick. You put it on too thick and it starts dripping. When you have drip, problem. Sometimes you even need to clean it more. So just a tip right there for painting. Here's another pointer. Make sure to stay hydrated. I got some water there, and I got the speedy light. When you're doing big jobs like this, you want to make sure to stay hydrated the whole time. I usually take a break to drink a little bit, at least once an hour, hopefully. So a lot of guys don't take into consideration, I'm not just doing handyman jobs or paint jobs. It's like, take for instance this. All this stuff that I'm showing you right now, I took that up in one trip. I planned it out because this is pretty much all I'll need to finish trim on these doors and the trim around those windows. I brought up exactly what I needed in one trip, so I don't have to keep going up and down. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this stuff down. I don't really want to make another trip up here until tomorrow when I blow all this. So I'm just going to throw this down in the grass. Safe there, won't bust the concrete. Oh shoot, my tape's rolling into the street. That's really good tape. Oh no. I don't really want that to get ran over. I may have to go down to go. That's upsetting me. Oh yeah, and another thing I forgot to mention earlier is it's good to have a wet rag on hand when you're painting. So if there is like a touch up, like let's say maybe for instance you got some paint on the white here or paint on the white over here. I don't like to use tape because it just takes longer unless I really have to. And I don't really have to use tape with this because I'm really good at cutting in, so I should be good. But don't step in paint while you're painting because you could just track it all over the place. And then also another thing is I usually try to work my way down. So like right here, you see, so it's okay to come back and come back, you know, back and forth like that. I mean, just make sure you have good coverage. So just come back, get a little more paint. You don't want to put too much on at once. You don't want to put on too little. There's kind of like a fine medium you want to reach, you know. Cutting in, the real trick to it is just finessing it, you know, just going kind of slow, not too fast, and just watching your line as you're cutting. A lot of people just don't know how to cut in properly. No, it just takes a little bit of practice. But I mean, once you know, get used to, I mean, I rarely use tape unless I need a real straight line. I just like to do things in segments usually when I paint, so then I know which areas I already hit, you know? That's kind of the key to painting as well. I balled it up because I had a bunch of paint on it. If I didn't ball it up, it would have just flown away. So now I'm also gonna clean off this bird poop because you don't want that on there when you paint. So as for time management, so I'm gonna end the day today. It's like 3 or 4, I think, right now. I just don't really want to start on this white paint right now because then I got to do a whole nother setup and cleanup of paint. So that's key when trying to think about where you're at in the day, you know. This is my cleanup area that I set up on the plastic so that I don't make a huge mess. Make sure you don't put a lot of paint in your tray because you don't want it to dry up. It dries up really quickly in the sun and then it's like not very effective to put on. So I'm going to show you right here. What I'm going to do is take this leftover paint, use my brush to brush over the leftover paint into my bucket. I'm going to show you that right here. It's pretty easy to do. Something I do every time I paint, so then I'm not wasting paint really. So real simple here. Just pretty much scoop it all out into there. I do this for pretty much every paint job I do. See how some of it's already starting to dry? It's not really good to put that paint back in. That's why you got to get to it quickly. But also, another thing I was going to say, for jobs like this where it's kind of big and I got a lot to do, my bigger stuff I'll just leave on site. Maybe on the side of the house or in the garage. So like I'm going to leave my ladders and the 5-gallon thing of paint here because it's just going to make my life way easier for me. But you want to hammer it down all the way around. I usually go another time around to make sure it's sealed really well. A long pole here to get the area up there. I've already gotten a bunch of it, but like I have a small ruler on here because it's easier to apply to that eave up there. But as you can see, so I'm making distance. So I've had the paint tray over there before, but now I have it over here. So I have to like move it to an area so that I can extend the pull out, still get to the area that I need. I have my ladders like this, and I don't really have, I'm able to, when I go and paint that eave up there, I have to hold on to the ladder because if I lose my balance going backwards, I could easily fall off. So in order to do that and still bring up paint, what I've done is I've taken the cap of a wasp spray killer and then I filled that with paint. I fill it up with enough paint so that every time I go up, I can hold on to the ladder and still paint with this. And then I just switch from one hand to the other with my brush. So it makes it way easier, and I'm able to hold on so it won't fall off.